Hello everyone, welcome back, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 of my favourite Duran Duran music videos. Now obviously I've done ranking all of the studio albums, I ranked the Arcadia album. In case any of you were wondering about the Power Station album, I was thinking of ranking it, however I've never really listened to the Power Station. I've listened to 2 songs, which were Some Like It Hot and Bang a Gong. And while I did like those 2 songs, and I know Bang a Gong is a cover of a song by T-Rex, I just felt like I wouldn't really be into the Power Station as much as I am with Arcadia, and so I didn't know if it would, I've never really gotten into the Power Station, and so I didn't know if it would be a little bit wrong in a way if I were to rank the album when it's just not my kind of thing. Because, I know some people might want me to rank the Power Station, but at the same time, it's also like, if I'm not totally keen on the Power Station, is that not a little bit wrong? I'm not sure. As of right now, I just don't think I'm as keen on the Power Station's music as I am with Arcadia's music. Maybe in the future I will rank the Power Station if I ever listen to that album entirely and decide that I want to rank it, but as of now I don't really have any plans to. But anyway, so I needed an idea of what video or videos to do now, and I was watching music videos and I thought, why not discuss some of your favourite ones? So I have quite a few Duran Duran music videos that I like. So I won't say this is like my top 5 because, it changes quite often. Sometimes I like music videos more than others. So saying these are my top 5 videos would be a little bit of a lie because I tend to change my mind on which ones are my favourite. And I think I may end up making a part 2 to this at some point because, as I said, I do have a lot of music videos by Duran Duran that I like, and I did think of doing 10, but I just thought that would be a really long video, so we're gonna do 5, and perhaps in another video there'll be another 5. But anyway, these are not really in a particular order, just because I couldn't really rank them in an order. So, no particular order, and we will start with Too Much Information. Too Much Information is a song from Duran Duran's 1993 album, The Wedding Album. The video was filmed in Santa Monica on August the 27th, which I believe was a few days after the single came out. I believe the single came out August 23rd. 1993, and it was filmed on the elaborate stage set for the Dilate Your Mind tour. Now, one thing I love in the video is Nick and John's colourful hair. So Nick had his hair purple and John had his hair red, and I'm guessing this video was shot around the time that Duran Duran got their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, because I've seen that video and I've also seen pictures of it as well, and they both had their colourful hair there. I don't actually know when they got their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, actually. I probably have discovered the date before, but I just don't remember it. But one thing that kind of shocked me is that Simon also didn't have his hair like a bright colour, because, he's not shy of dyeing it. He's dyed it quite a lot in the past, like in Arcadia. He had his hair black, and he attempted to dye it blonde in Hungry Like the Wolf, and it did end up orange, so that was not meant to sound cruel, by the way. So, I'm also surprised he never dyed his hair a colourful colour, or that he hadn't had it bleached at that point, because I know in 93, 94, at some point, he did have his hair, like, bleached, and so I'm kind of surprised he didn't do it for the Too Much Information video to sort of fit in with Nick and John's colourful hair. Now, there is also some imagery of the Chauffeurs music video shown in Too Much Information. It's very brief, it's just, you know, the topless dancer, but it's censored in Too Much Information. Perhaps there's other references, but when I was watching it, I didn't catch on to any. It was just that particular one. And obviously the song is about, you know, being sold things and things being put in your face and things, you know, being sold for other purposes, and does any of that even make sense? So the point of the song really is, you know, it's talking about how the pressure's on the screen to sell you things, and there's, you know, things being pushed onto you and things being sold, and I guess, you know, that is sort of like, well, you know, the show for music video, it is women in lingerie and things like that. So I think you can kind of imagine what the implication of what they're selling is being discussed in that video. I didn't word that properly at all. Another thing I love is Simon's suit in that video, the one that has all the words on it. I know he wore that quite a bit on the Dilate Your Mind tour. I think that is probably one of my favourite Simon outfits of all time. And I find the scene of him being hit with the guitars by John and Warren quite interesting. And maybe this is the point, but I've never really heard it being discussed. But I feel like it sort of symbolises him being destroyed by like the media and everything like that, and sort of by the band, because not by the band itself, but by the things that people say about the band, and how, like, you know, being in the band sort of destroys him because of all the pressure of being in a band, and, you know, having to be perfect, which is a line that they literally sort of say in the song, this band is perfect, just don't scratch the surface. So, you know, I feel like it perhaps maybe symbolises that, you know, being destroyed by what people say and being destroyed by the pressure of trying to be perfect, you know, to sell this image, because people aren't going to like you if you're not perfect, you know. And another one of my favourite shots as well is the one towards the end where it's like, dilate your mind, and, you know, it sort of flickers between John and Nick. I really like that part as well. But I just love the video for Too Much Information. I think the set is really interesting, and I think it's a really colourful video as well. And I believe it also has sort of like imagery of things going on in the world, and also advertisements and things like that, which, you know, is obviously part of the song because it's all the things that they're pushing onto your screen and into your head, if that makes sense. Also, I'm pretty sure that Duran Duran's backing singer at the time, Lamia, was in the video as well. I just thought I would point that out because I think she was an amazing singer, and I really liked how she was included with the band quite a little bit. But anyway, I think that's all I have to say about Too Much Information. So we will move on to the next song, and that will be All She Wants Is. Now, I know some people find the video to All She Wants Is pretty strange. I think for some people it's kind of actually scary, but I've always loved it. I've always thought it was an amazing, intriguing music video. And the director of the music video, Dean Chamberlain, also directed Arcadia's Missing. And I found this out last week when I was researching for So Red the Rose, which I ranked in my previous video. And so for anybody who watched that video, I did end up watching the music video to Missing. And so it is basically in the same style of All She Wants Is. It's, you know, it's a stop motion video. Back to All She Wants Is. So All She Wants Is took almost a month to shoot due to using long exposure shots to create unusual light effects around a girl and fixtures in her flat. Now, at the time of shooting the video, the band were in the middle of a hectic promo schedule, and so they were unable to spend the necessary time needed standing still to shoot the video, as it was all stop motion, so, you know, they You get the point. And so they allowed plaster masks to be made from their faces, in which latex limitations of their faces were then cast and fitted onto mannequins so that Chamberlain could create the stop motion special effects. Now, I don't know what it is I love about All She Wants Is. I do think it is probably to do with the stop motion and all the lighting effects and the fact that it's just quite intriguing. It is a bit of a different music video, but I like that. And I don't really think I've ever heard anybody say that All She Wants is one of their favourite music videos. I can understand why it might be a little bit creepy to some people. Obviously, if you're scared of mannequins, then it's probably going to be really creepy to you. But yeah, I think that's sort of what I like about the video, is the stop motion, the lighting effects, and also I believe the director won an award because of the music video. I don't remember what, unfortunately, but I'll put it on the screen. There's not really much more I have to discuss about All She Wants Is, other than the fact I just like the video for some reason. I think it's intriguing and I think it's quite mysterious, and I just like it. I know probably not many people will, but I do. We will move on now to Night Boat. Now, Night Boat is a video I can definitely understand if people were creeped out about, because it is a eerie sort of mini kind of horror movie. It's not totally scary, but at that time music videos like that weren't really a thing yet. You know, there was not really any sort of horror vibe going on in music videos from what I researched. So it was probably kind of a little bit freaky to have that premiere on your screen. And technically, this video was actually the first music video to feature zombies, as it came out a year before Michael Jackson's Thriller. And I don't think really anybody knows that. People will just assume that the first music video to feature zombies in it was Thriller, because obviously that was a really popular music video, like really popular. And so Night Boat never really got the credit for being one of the first, or in fact the actual first music video to have zombies in it. As far as I'm aware, it was, because I did research what the first music video to have zombies in it was, and it just came up with Thriller. And I know that was obviously incorrect because Night Boat came out first. I wasn't sure if there were any other music videos that had zombies in it that came before Night Boat, but it kind of was impossible to find because it just brought up matches for Thriller. So anyway, on the subject of the zombies, the music video is basically Duran Duran on an island, and Simon's sort of on a dock. He's reciting poetry from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. You know, things start out fine. He's just reciting his poetry. The others are wandering about. Andy comes in on his boat. And then things start getting a little bit strange. At some point in the video, things take a turn. And suddenly, there are zombies who start trying to chase the guys, basically. There is one point in the video as well where Nick and Andy are trying to talk to Simon while he's still reciting the poetry, and he doesn't answer them anymore, like he's in some kind of trance. So, you know, it's kind of hard to follow the video in a sense, because you kind of have, you know, you have to come up with your own interpretation of it. And, you know, it's like, was he aware of what was going to happen? And so he was sort of entranced by what was going to happen. And then, you know, John starts screaming, so it's like, was he starting to turn into a zombie? Then the zombies come and attack him and start ripping off his clothes, which maybe that was a metaphor for all the screaming fans that wanted to do that at that time. I'm so sorry, John. And then obviously Roger runs into that little cabin. He manages to lock it up and get away from the zombies. Now, I don't really know what happened to Andy and Nick at that point, because I don't remember seeing them at that point in the video. And obviously, Simon's on the night boat. He stood on the bow of the ship and he's singing about how he's waiting for the night boat, which he's then on. So, what are you waiting for? You're already there. So he's just singing away about how he's waiting for the night boat. And I'm pretty sure there's also a part of the video where he's stood singing and then the zombies are around him, just kind of sat there. So it's like, was he sort of, you know, did he have something to do with it? Is that what was going on? Because he didn't seem that fazed by them. They didn't seem to go after him. He was on the night boat with them. And also he went into that sort of trance. So, did he know something? Did he know something? Was he there to, you know, capture the rest of the guys? Now, going back to Nick and Andy sort of disappearing, it does look like at the end they are actually on board the night boat as it sails away. I'm pretty sure I at least spot Nick. I'm not entirely sure if Andy was on there, but if not, I don't know where else he went. Maybe the zombies really did get him. So sorry, Andy. I don't really know what happened to John either once the zombies started taking off his clothes. I don't know if he ended up on the night boat as well. But it seems at the end, Roger is the only one who survived the whole zombie outbreak thing and, you know, came out unscathed. And he comes out of that cabin once the zombies are gone and he just sort of looks off into the distance, and then the night boat's sailing away with Simon on there, and I'm assuming the zombies and the rest of the band. But yeah, I do think Night Boat is a fantastic video. It is sort of like a mini horror movie in a way. I'm not really sure if I have much more to say about it, so we will move on now to Breath After Breath. Now, in my wedding album ranking video, I did actually talk about how much I love the music video for Breath After Breath. I just think it's a really beautiful video in a way. I don't really know why. I think it's just something about the lighting when they're at the waterfalls. I just love those shots in the video, and I would say that probably is the reason I love the music video so much, is the shots of them at the waterfall. Forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but the waterfalls in question were actually the Iguazu Falls, which are located between Argentina and Brazil, and they also happen to be the largest waterfalls in the world. The rest of the footage was taken in Buenos Aires, Argentina. That footage contains shots of fans and also, I'm assuming, locals of the area that they were shooting in. And the video also uses live footage from the Vélez Stadium show. And there's actually a concert video on YouTube from 1993 in Argentina, where at the beginning Simon comes out and he says, we're gonna shoot a music video with our new song. So they run the song and, you know, the band do the shots that they need to do. And they also have Milton Nascimento, I'm really sorry if I pronounced that wrong, not good at pronouncing things clearly, up on stage as well, because he was a friend of Warren Cucurullo's, who sang the Portuguese parts of the song. And so they all did what they needed to do on stage, and then after they'd done it the first time, Simon said, we're going to do it again. And so they did it again, and then they got into the show. But I'm pretty sure everybody that was there that night in the crowd got, you know, there was footage taken of them for the video, because at the end of the video there is shots of like a crowd and even some up close shots of some of the fans. So if anybody was actually in that video and they're watching this one, hi, how amazing, you were in a Duran Duran video. I just think the video is a really great video, and It's probably a very unpopular one. I don't know how many people will have watched the video, but I love it. It is one of my favourite Duran Duran music videos. And like I said, I think it's the shots of them that are taken at the falls. I think they're really beautiful shots. It's something about the lighting as well, I think, when they're at the falls. It just has this like majestic sort of beauty to it, really. And, you know, also the scenes where they're like round the rocks and things. I don't know. I just really like that video. And I know it might seem kind of like a bit of a boring video to have picked out of many of the Duran Duran videos, but, you know, this is my own opinion. These are my favourite music videos. Just because I like it doesn't mean anybody else has to. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean I can't. If you haven't watched the music video, you definitely should, because it is a really nice music video. It's just, you know, it's a more chilled out video, I think. It's not, you know, so action-packed compared to a lot of the Duran Duran music videos. It just has a more chilled out atmosphere. There's something about the atmosphere in it as well, I think, that just makes it what it is. I could go on a long time about Breath After Breath, but I don't really have the words to do so, as you can tell. I do just think it's a really beautiful music video. It's simple, but it goes with the song, and that's the whole point. But anyway, I will move on to the last music video now, which is The Wild Boys. Now, I've never really had much chance to talk about The Wild Boys because it's not on an album, and so because of that, I've just never spoke about it. But I absolutely love The Wild Boys. It was one of the first few Duran Duran music videos that I watched. Instantly, I loved it. I love everything about The Wild Boys. The song, the costumes, the music video, everything. The idea for the song came from longtime Duran Duran video director Russell Mulcahy. I don't know if I said that properly. Clearly, I cannot pronounce names. And he wanted to make a full-length feature film based on the 1971 novel The Wild Boys, A Book of the Dead by William S. Burroughs. Simon began to write some lyrics based on Russell's quick synopsis of the book. The band created a harsh sounding instrumental for those lyrics, taking inspiration from the groove of Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax. Now that makes sense as to why they did the remix during the All You Need Is Now tour, which PS is probably one of my favourite Duran Duran remixes because I actually love Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And so The Wild Boys and Relax put together was a dream. Like, when I discovered that remix, I was really excited. It made me very happy because that's like two of my favourite songs put together. Don't judge me for liking Relax, okay? I know what it's about. The video cost totaled to over £1 million, and this was a staggering amount of money for a music video at that time. But it cost that much as the design filled one entire end of the 007 stage at Pinewood Studios. And you know, that was filled with a metal pyramid, a windmill over a deep enclosed pool, as well as them also needing a lifelike robotic face, dozens of elaborate costumes, prosthetics, makeup effects, and finally, then cutting edge computer graphics. What I remember reading was that Russell Mulcahy, I still don't feel like I'm saying that properly. How do you say this name? I'm so sorry if you ever see this video. Now, Russell Mulcahy sort of intended the music video to be sort of a teaser for the feature films that he wanted to make based on Burroughs' books. So he demonstrated it to the studios he was trying to woo, but the projects never came to be. You know, it's a little bit disappointing when you have an idea and it doesn't go to plan. But on the bright side, we got an amazing music video out of it. That wasn't meant to sound like, oh, well, never mind, because, you know, who put this table so close to me? You understand what I mean, though, hopefully. You know, that the bright side to it is that we still got an amazing music video. And The Wild Boys was named British Video of the Year at the 1985 Brit Awards. Now, obviously, the video sort of portrays the guys in distress. John's strapped to a car, and he's having, like... To be honest, I don't know what was meant to be going on that screen. It was just pictures of him. You strap into a car and show him pictures of himself, and that's supposed to be torture. And so, you know, in the video, the band were all in sort of different kinds of distress. John was strapped to a car, suffering a sort of psycho torture with images of an early past. Nick was caged up with a pile of computer equipment. Roger was put in a hot air balloon high off of the ground. Andy Taylor was bound with his guitar to a ship's figurehead. And of course, Simon was strapped to that windmill that kept dunking him in that pool of water. Honestly, I'm not even just saying this, but the balls it must have took to be strapped onto that windmill, having your head dunked underwater every, 10 seconds? I don't know how fast that windmill was, I wasn't counting. Not only that, but I'm pretty sure the water was freezing as well. I'm pretty sure. I watched it behind the scenes of the music video quite a while ago, and I'm sure they said that the water was freezing. The cost of the video was through the roof as it was. I don't think they could spend any more money heating the water up, but oh my god. I remember when I first watched the music video, actually. I actually at first wasn't sure if it really was Simon strapped onto there. I thought it might have been a stunt double, and then I realised at the more close-up shots, oh my god, that actually is him. Now, you know, if anybody ever says he ain't got no balls, I will say, okay mate, would you get on that windmill? Because I bet you wouldn't. I bet you wouldn't, even if that water was a nice lukewarm temperature. I actually was watching an interview last night. It was from the All You Need Is Now era. And Roger said that he was originally supposed to be on a lead in Plastic Pants. Now, I don't know if that was entirely true, but Roger doesn't seem like the kind of person that would make something up. I don't know. Roger seems like he'd tell the truth, so I didn't actually look into it if it was a fact, but I mean, if he literally said it himself, then I'm gonna believe it. He said he was like, no, I'm not doing that. Fair enough, to be honest. That is a bit... Although it did make me think of that one image in the Reflex video. If you watch that video, you'll know what I mean. You'll know what I'm talking about. Now, there is actually a longer version of the Wild Boys music video. I think I watched it once a long time ago. Probably gonna have to rewatch that again. But I just thought I'd mention that in case anybody didn't know. I think the Wild Boys is a fantastic video. Creative, it's like a mini film, which is the point. I really like it. It's creative and it's different, and it's a very interesting video. Also, forgot to mention this, the outfits that the band wore in the video were inspired by the costumes in Mad Max 2. I'm sure a lot of people will probably know that fact. I'm pretty sure Simon is literally dressed as Mad Max, but I've never watched Mad Max, so I'm not entirely sure, but I've heard people say that, so don't quote me on it, but that's what I've heard people say. Obviously, the costumes were inspired by the costumes in Mad Max, so it would make sense. Because I actually almost dressed as Simon Le Bon in the Wild Boys for a fancy dress party, but someone was like, people are going to think you're Mad Max if you do that. And I was like, oh, okay then. I ended up dressing as Simon Le Bon in the Girls on Film music video instead. I wanted people to know who I was. I didn't want them to think I was Mad Max. Can you tell who my idol is? It's not Mad Max. But anyway, I just think The Wild Boys is a great video. It's a great song. I love everything about the Wild Boys, and I have done since I first watched the music video. And so when they made those Funko Pops of the Wild Boys, I was so excited. And also, there are 6 collectible vinyl single sleeves for the Wild Boys. So there's one of each band member, and then one that has a picture of the whole band on it. I have 3 of them. I have just the regular Wild Boys sleeve, I have the Andy sleeve, and I have the Simon sleeve. And I do plan on getting Nick, Roger and John as well. I think you can gather by now how much I love the Wild Boys. It's just one of my favourite videos, one of my favourite songs. Like the Wild Boys and the Reflex, I think will always be my favourite hits. I think pretty much most of the music videos that I've picked in this video are probably very unpopular opinions. Many will probably disagree, but they're my opinions, of course, and I'm not making this video for people to agree with me. I'm just making it because I'm sharing my own 5 favourite music videos. I think pretty much most of them are probably quite unpopular, and I think maybe the Wild Boys will be the only one on the list that most people would agree with. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'd be interested in knowing what 5 of your favourite Duran Duran music videos are. That is it for this video, I think. As I said, I may do a second part of this video because I do like quite a lot of Duran Duran music videos. We could go ahead and say I like them all really, but some I do prefer more than others. And as I said at the beginning, I was actually going to include 10, but clearly this video is pretty long, so if I had made this about 10 music videos, it would have been really long. So it's just easier to separate it into 2 parts, I suppose. So perhaps there may be a part 2 of this video in the future. But anyway, until my next video, bye.